So I want to get started because it is 3:10. There's so much to go through, and some people just really underestimate blogging and what it can do for their business. So very important topic for us to talk about. And at any point, if you have any questions, feel free to pop them into the session chat. I'll be answering them throughout. So there's that. You can ask them whenever about specific slides, whatever you want. And I would also love for you at any point in this chat to just kind of pop in there and let me know if you have tried blogging, if you like blogging, what are your biggest challenges about blogging. Some people are absolutely terrified of blogging, and that's absolutely okay. If you want the slides a little bit larger because you don't want to see my gorgeous face as big, you can double click on the slides and those will be larger. So let's just, without further ado, let's kind of dive in right now. We're going to talk about blogging for business. Obviously, there's my social handles. You can find me there. And I'm going to be, kind of here throughout the day on the chat. So feel free to connect with me. I'll be dropping some links in the chat as well. If you like me after what you hear today, you can set up a time to chat with me, a free consult, and then we can kind of go from there. So who am I? Why would you even want to listen to me talk about blogging for business? My name is Candace Huntley. I am the founding partner at SongBird Marketing Communications, and I've been doing this for a little while now. I specialize in doing a lot of media and influencer relations, a lot of content strategy and social media, even some experiential, which is crazy right now during COVID times. And one thing that I love to do a lot of is thought leadership for different companies and different individuals. And part of thought leadership oftentimes is that blog and setting up a blog that's really engaging and provides so much value, because when it comes down to it, you want your blog to attract customers and you want your blog to make life easier for you, not make life harder. If you hear me, can I get an amen or a wave in the chat? Biggest challenge absolutely is getting started writing. We are going to cover that today, Scott. Second time is the time it takes to write an engaging blog. Absolutely. I'm going to go over a few different things, some tips and tricks that I like to do for my own blog, just to keep things simple and straightforward, to make sure that you can really jump on things as you go and keep up to speed and make sure that you're really attracting the right audience in the right ways. Some of the other things that I do in addition to thought leadership, I've run some really successful strategies for different companies, both internationally and locally. There's never too small of an audience. It's only the audience that you have, and you have to treat that audience that you have like they are the most important people in the world. And part of the way that you can do that is to really set up a great blog. So, reasons to start blogging for business. We are going to jump right into this. You don't want to hear anything about me. I can talk about myself all day long. We can talk about why SongBird is SongBird and my background in entertainment. You can come and have a chat with me later on one-on-one if you want to hear more about that. But let's talk about blogging. So why even bother to start a blog for your business? It takes time. You're right, Scott. Sometimes it can be a little bit scary when you're really getting started because you don't know what to write about or how to write it properly, or if people are even going to listen. One of the reasons that you want to start writing a blog is increased website traffic. Number one, people actually report that you get 55% more visitors to your site if you have a blog on your site. There are a couple different reasons. Number one, Google loves it when you have fresh content on your site regularly. Number two, people need a reason to go to your site. Your products might not be changing. You might not be really promoting things as much, but if you have regular fresh content going out, then people are going to want to see what's going on and what else you have to offer them. Number two, you want to become the go-to expert in your industry. This is what I'm talking about thought leadership and creating a really great platform for yourself. You become the go-to expert that media want to talk to. You become the go-to expert that your clients want to talk to, or your customers, that people really seek out because you know what you're talking about. The idea is that I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but you want to give so much away that you're just on the verge of that sale so that you really pull people in. And so if you're becoming the go-to expert, then you're really sharing with people what you know, and knowledge is power. People want knowledge. They want to be informed. Everybody is doing more and more research online these days. We're all kind of stuck at home, even though things are opening up again, but people are spending more time at home. That means more time online, more time in front of their computer. And you want to make sure that you're giving them a reason to come to your website. The third thing is increased opportunity for calls to action. People aren't going to know what to do unless you ask them to do something specific. And so you really want to make sure that you're really loading up your blogs with calls to action in the appropriate places. We'll talk about that later. And you want to make sure that you're letting them know that you're there and what you have to offer. You can create warm leads. I know Kim just gave a really great talk on sales. This is kind of adding to a really bigger sales strategy as well in terms of your content. You can get 67% more leads if you have a blog. Doesn't everybody want 67% more leads? That's incredible. If you have a blog and you update it regularly, you're going to be able to use it in a really, really fun way and a really important way in terms of selling and getting leads for yourself. 57% of marketers have actually said that they have sold products and services directly from their blog. So, that's utilizing your blog in a way that makes sense for what you have to offer and everything that you do. And you're really creating that pull into your business. And the last reason why you want to have a blog is simply to connect with your audience. Remember how I talked about your audience should be the most important people for you, and you want to make sure that you're really pushing that idea forward with everything that you do, because your audience, they don't want ads. They don't want a hard sell. Your audience wants content. They want to be informed. They want someone to give them an easy way for them to learn something new, to learn about your business, all of those different things that you can do with a blog, the different types of ways that you can pull people in with fun content and engaging content. That's what is important about connecting with your audience from this. So getting started, and Scott, this is basically what you're talking about, is kind of that one of those challenges for many, many, many people is that hump of getting started, to figure out what you're going to write about, to set a schedule about how you're going to write it, to stay on track, to be able to sit down on a regular basis and write engaging content that doesn't get stale. Because if you're writing a blog every week, or even sometimes multiple times a week, sometimes it can, if you look at it as a big picture, it can be a little bit overwhelming. It's really hard sometimes for people to think, oh my goodness, I have to write, if you're doing weekly, I have to write 52 blogs this year. And if you think about it like that, it can be a little overwhelming, but you have to remember that you are not sitting down to write 52 blogs at once. And there are ebbs and flows in your business, and there are ebbs and flows in your industry, and people want to learn about different things at different times. And so your blog has to pull on all of those different strings throughout the year to create an incredible fabric of knowledge and entertainment and just, sharing and value for your audience. And so the first thing that you want to do when you're getting started is you want to create a swipe file. Who here has heard of a swipe file? Anybody? Yes? No? Most people haven't heard of a swipe file. A swipe file is simply, I use an Excel sheet where every time I think of an interesting topic, or I come up with, if I've had Scott, you have, excellent, only recently, that's fair. Anytime I come across a really interesting topic, or I have a customer that asks me a question, or a prospect that asks me a question that I think would make a really good blog topic, I pop it in there. There's no way as a business owner that you're going to remember everything on a daily basis. This is simply a replacement for that little tiny corner of your brain that you store things with the hopes that when it comes time to it, you're going to remember actually what you stored in that little file in your brain. So just to do away with that, you're going to start this swipe file. Like I said, I use Excel. Some people use Word. It's simply just a list of potential blog topics that you can pull from throughout the year, whenever. It can even be a blog topic that you have read about, but you might have a different opinion than the original author. So those are the different types of things that you can put in there. It's really just a file that you can keep with you in your back pocket, because the next thing that you need to do is set an editorial schedule. This is the one thing, if you don't take any other advice from me from this entire 20-minute presentation, a little shorter in case there's questions, but if you don't take any other advice from me, this is the one thing that you need to remember. Set yourself an editorial schedule. There is a reason why publications do this, because they need something to keep them accountable. And an editorial schedule is just that. It's a calendar of when you're going to write what. So if you've decided that you're going to do a weekly blog, your editorial schedule is going to lay out all the topics. I generally tend to like to plan 3 months in advance. We usually like to do weekly blogs unless something crazy is happening in the world, which there are a lot of crazy things happening in the world right now. But I generally tend to plan 3 months in advance. I start out really, let's say, well, I start out macro. Can I say that word? It makes me sound really jargony. But I like to start with monthly themes. And then from those monthly themes, I break it down into smaller bite-sized topics. So for example, November, there's Entrepreneurship Week. So November, I know I'm likely going to write a theme. My theme is going to be entrepreneurship. And so I create my topics for that month. Sometimes it's based on events that might be happening. Sometimes it's just based on discussions that I want to have. But this is where you can go back to your swipe file and you can look through the list of topics that you've put in that memory bank of yours, and you can say, oh, this one would be a really good one for an entrepreneurship topic, so I'm going to file that into my November month where I've got my theme about entrepreneurship. And so that way you're creating this editorial schedule. Again, I love to use Excel for mine. If you're interested, you can email me afterwards and I can send you an example of how I do it, just to lay it out really easily. And so monthly theme, and then all of my blog topics for the month then fit into that monthly theme. Generally, what I like to do is I also like to match my newsletter to my monthly theme as well. So that's something that you can also do, because remember, your blog should be a part of the entire strategy, not just kind of this little tunnel vision, this is what I'm doing. I'm just going to blog, and then I'm going to do social media, and then I'm going to do my newsletter. It's all this wonderful, harmonious piece of music that you can create. And the third thing that you want to do is you want to avoid distraction. We have all been there where we've sat down to write a blog, and then all of a sudden, your desk is just too messy to continue on this blog writing process. And so you spend your entire hour that you have scheduled to write your blog on cleaning up your desk. Now, after the hour, your desk might be spick and span, and it's very, very well organized. Good for you. You should take pictures and post that on social media. However, you're not any further ahead when it comes to writing your blog. So again, take that step back. You've created an editorial schedule. So you know that on Monday, because you're posting a blog on Thursday, you need to write a blog about XYZ. So first of all, you sit down. You don't have to think about the topic you're writing. You already know what you're going to be writing about. And then you want to try to avoid your distractions. Turn off the TV. If music is a distraction to you, turn off the music. Or put in headphones or earplugs or whatever it is. If you're working at a coffee shop, sometimes people watching can be a little bit distracting. So try to avoid any of those distractions around you, so you can actually just sit down and actually get started on what you want to do for writing. So those are kind of the 3 easy things that you can do. Some of them might seem like this might seem really obvious. But mostly people skip over these steps and they think, okay, I can avoid distraction. But if you haven't set an editorial schedule, and if you have no idea what you're writing about, then there's really no point in even avoiding distraction, because you're going to spend that whole time just deciding what you want to write. So the other thing that I would say is you want to create a process for yourself. Scott, you mentioned that it's really hard to create engaging content. And one thing that I would suggest is in that process for yourself, and I'll share with you how I like to do it. I'm hoping not to go over time, but we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going. Um, but you know, so you have all of this stuff that you can do. I can tell you that I do my title and my intro last. You know, and it just makes it easier for me because then I can write the meat and potatoes of it, and then I figure out what I want to write about, and then I write my title last. Stay away from that clickbait stuff. People don't really want to hear it, and they want to know what you're going to be writing about. This is what I like to talk about. If a blog gets posted, but there is no audience to read it, does the blog post even exist? This is a whole other presentation, but just a reminder that when you write a blog post and you spend the time writing a blog post, you want to make sure that you promote it. I have written a number of blog posts on this topic recently. So if you are interested in more about promoting your blog, definitely reach out to me because I can absolutely share some information. Exactly, if a tree falls in the forest is the same thing. Okay, so one thing that people do forget about is you've put a lot of work into writing your blog post. Maybe you did promote it, but a year has passed and you haven't done anything with that blog content in a year, but it's still relevant. That blog content is called evergreen content, which also goes to the tree analogy there. And so there are ways that you can reinvent your old blog content to really make it new. One, you can create social media graphics. So if you've done a listicle a year ago, but it's still relevant, turn that listicle, if it's 6 different points, into 6 different social media posts. That's a really great way to drive traffic to a blog that you've already done the work on creating. It refreshes it, it makes it new again. For those of you who don't know, a listicle is simply a blog post that has different points in it. It's very easy to skim. Think about it as kind of a list of tips and tricks, or a list of your favorite things, whatever it is. That's a listicle. I love them. They're very easy to read, and people love reading listicles simply because they're easy to skim. I think it's something like 40% of readers actually admit to only skimming blog content. So if you, or it might even be higher, but if you know your audience is already doing that, then create content that they're still going to get the value out of it because they're going to find value in the style that you're writing in. Get specific. Write for a specific audience. If you wrote a blog post about something generalized in your industry, but maybe you want to target it specifically towards parents, or towards maybe it's recruiters, you can really get really specific and nitty gritty into it by taking an old blog and refreshing it with new stats and a different point of view, but still keeping the main structure and the general point of it. Create a rabbit hole. I like talking about this, where we've all been on websites where all of a sudden we found that we've actually clicked through to 6 different blogs or 6 different pages on their site. So create that path where people can spend, 20, 30, an hour, 30 minutes or an hour on your website by creating that rabbit hole for them and allowing these things to click through within your site. Start guest blogging. Sometimes they allow you to reuse content that you already have. You can break up a topic that's a general topic into really more specific, shorter blogs. Create an infographic. Infographics are great. People love to see them on social media. They're really easy to digest. It's fresh content on your website, and you can utilize things that you've already done before. Maybe take the opportunity to update stats. Even you could do that. Do a video or audio recording. You could even create an ebook and actually create that as, as a lead magnet for people. Now, there are also things to avoid. I've got a couple of minutes. It goes so fast. You want to avoid shameless self-promotion. Yes, you're not just using your entire blog to sell. People don't like to hear that. They don't want to read it. They'll go somewhere else. Avoid negative energy. We have enough of that going on in the world right now. So try to stay positive. And I'm not saying you have to be all sunshine and roses. Not everybody's brand is like that. Sometimes it's a little bit more serious and straight-laced. But you want to try to stay away from complaining about things in the industry and things like that, and try to stick to opinions and facts. Don't forget your target audience. That means you want to write in language they understand. You want to provide value for them, and you want to make sure that you're always thinking of them when you're writing content. Make sure you create value. You want to have quantity over quality. Sorry. Yeah. Right. Things to avoid. Quantity over quality. Whew. I was like, what? I did it backwards. You want to make sure you're always writing great content instead of putting out a million blogs that are terrible. So less is more. Image sourcing, you want to make sure that you're always sourcing where your image came from, and you want to make sure you include an image because it actually gets 94% more views than a blog that has no image. And then you want to make sure you don't have labored writing. You want it to be conversational and not boring. And you want to make sure that you're always setting goals for yourself, because if you set out and you have no idea what your strategy is, but you keep going anyway, then it's going to get you nowhere. That's my time. I have one last thing to share with you. If you have any questions, feel free to chat with me today. I might see you in the networking tab. Definitely. Pop over to your session, Scott. I will catch you there as well. But if you are looking for some extra stuff in terms of your marketing, I actually am doing a holiday marketing. I'm going to copy this over. I'm doing a holiday marketing workshop and masterclass that's coming up on the 25th. So I just popped that link in there. That is the holiday marketing workshop. So feel free to come and check it out. Or you can find me here. And then I also have my email that you can check me out if you have any questions or you want the slides. Definitely feel free to email me. And that is it. That's quick, 20 minutes. Time is up. I've already gone over a minute. I will talk with you guys soon at this event. See you later.